just bring in policies too. For sure.
If you don't say we have several more stories.
The legislature was carefully crafted to
22.2% inflation rates as of April this year. What does that say about where we are as a country?
I think Nigeria has resorted to being resilient.
Before you call the police station, before they even leave, they take permission from
I don't think there's really anything on ground to improve.
the struggle as a strike.
Minister of Education volunteered and said, give me 2 weeks.
It was a life. The president never gave me any deadline.
Hello, welcome to Global Morning Sunday. I am Uyi Agbofogbe. It's a delight to know that you're joining us this great morning. A new week has just started, by the way. I mean, what more can I say? For those who have survived the previous week, in whatever sense that applies to you, I mean, we should be grateful for a gift of life as well as for the opportunity to even be here. Today is the start of another week, even though for many people it's just an extension of the weekend. But whatever it is, ultimately the important thing is what you do today, what you make of these gifts that has been handed to you. In our case, we're here hosting Global Morning Sunday edition for the next 1 hour, and just to keep you abreast of happenings across the country and all over the world. A lot happening on the local and foreign scenes, and here we'll bring you all of those stories and create those perspectives for you, just so you have some insight into how these developments are going. Once again, welcome to the program. This week we're seeing many of the big stories play out. We've had those conversations across our programs as well, and then in our news we'll try as much as possible to carry you along with these developments as they continue to unfold. Some of them purely human angle in nature, others quite political, but at the end of the day, all of these issues affect us one way or another. We'll begin with one of them that has been quite a big conversation in Nigeria today, and that has to do with the hike in telecoms tariff. When this whole conversation started, it looked as if it was never going anywhere, but today we know better, because it has become some big concern for many Nigerians, most of whom now say that it's coming at a very wrong time. So timing for many of the consumers in this country, I mean consumers of telecom services, is quite a fundamental factor, right? So push that a bit further. You now realize that following the 50% increase or hike, as it's often called, that has been approved by the Nigerian Communications Commission (NCC) for telecoms operators, we are now seeing one twist after another in this regard. For example, Labour had talked about a protest scheduled, well, peaceful demonstration, it has been tagged, for Tuesday, February 4. That's just 2 days away, by the way. And the idea, the NLC now says, is to push home or drive home their demand for a total reversal of this 50% tariff hike that has now been approved by the regulatory authority of the telecom sector. Now, the Nigerian Labour Congress says we are not going to stop at just demonstrating. We'll go the whole length, make all the efforts, put in the work to ensure that consumers across this country are mobilized to join in this peaceful demonstration. Just to again be clear, that we understand has been scheduled for Tuesday. However, the question is, will that make any difference, and to what extent? I had a guest here just a few days ago, and I mean someone who is an expert in the telecom space, and I asked him, should Labour take to the street to protest? I mean, alongside consumers of telecom services in Nigeria, what difference will it make in terms of ensuring that this hike is reversed, or that it becomes in ways that are more practical, win-win for the operators as well as for the consuming public in Nigeria? Now, for the Labour, I mean the Nigerian Labour Congress, the important thing is to drive home that demand to reverse this hike, because according to most Nigerians, this move is ill-timed and it just further complicates the economic hardship that Nigerians are facing. How much of truth do we have in that? Well, so much of it, because for a country where right from the 29th of May 2023, fuel subsidy payments got suspended, and then on account of that suspension, the next thing you know is prices of essential commodities are shooting right through the roof, increasing what the everyday citizen pays for telecom services, whether it's texting, phone calls, or internet, is just a further complication on this already complex situation. Let's take a quick break. So much to talk about on the show. Of course, we have big headlines from across our national dailies coming your way on the program as well. Do stay with us. Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Mondays to Sundays to a wide range of the latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
As is always the case, once Labour proposes a demonstration like this, a peaceful demonstration, or what we normally call, some kind of, agitation, the next thing you know is stakeholders are reaching out to say, can we not sheath our swords? Can we not come to a dialogue? Can we not come to the round table? Let's discuss these issues and find a way to sort them out. To that end, we're understanding that the House of Representatives Committee on Communications is now reaching out to the Labour Congress to say, look, we can avert this demonstration that has already been scheduled for Tuesday, 4th of February 2025, and look for alternatives. Alternative methods or means of resolving these issues. And one of them is to say that, look, we can sit together, all right, look at what the issues are, what are really the challenges, what are the immediate and remote factors that gave rise or that made it necessary for, if you like, an upward review of a hike in tariff paid by telecoms subscribers. But then the question is the Labour disposed, favorably disposed to that sort of overture or proposition? That's the first question. The second question is, should that dialogue even happen, for example, what is the chance that it will help avert this demonstration? And in any case, if the demonstration were to be averted, would that change anything in terms of the fact that the Nigerian National Communications Commission, NCC, now has approved 50% tariff hike? And also, we need to state that the NCC is as well reaching out to the Nigerian Labour Congress to say, we can have a discussion, we can have a sit down without necessarily have to resort to some sort of demonstration in a bid to resolve all of these. But you see, the implications are very clear. For many people, 50% may not sound much. After all, if I'm paying 24 naira for a call already, it means I'm just going to move up a little by paying 36 naira for that same call. So it's just a 12 naira margin. But that's not really the argument that many experts or a good number of Nigerians are looking at. Instead, they are more interested in the volume. All right. So for somebody who probably makes a few tens of calls, hundreds of calls in a week, for somebody who probably makes calls of up to say 100 minutes in a week, maybe more than that. All right. Businesses in particular, what do you say to them in terms of the extra 50% that comes with tariff? All right, who makes up for that difference? Because you see, the price element must land on the lap of somebody. It must settle in front of somebody. So who takes that extra brunt, so to speak, is very important. All right, for businesses, yes, they can find a way to factor it into how they bill, how they charge for their products or services. But what happens to individuals, to private citizens who need to use these services for personal purposes? This is some of the concerns that many people have right now. Okay, well, we'll take another break. When we return, time for big story from our national dailies. To stay with us. With the Vanguard newspaper this morning, top above the nameplates of the Vanguard newspaper, we have headlines here beginning from top left corner. All right, it says a Sharia storm in the southwest. Sultan Gani Adams Ogun government join free. Sharia storm in the southwest. Sultan Gani Adams Ogun government join free. A rumbling in PFN escalates as more leaders oppose Bishop Wanilke's re-election. Supreme Court judgment, Argon opens up on obstacles to direct allocations to local government areas. The writer says, but we are clearing them. Read all those details on page 14 of today's issue of the Vanguard newspaper, that is the Sunday Vanguard. Star Story says, tankers of death. Catastrophic fires kill 3,445 tankers of death. That's your kicker. The headline itself reads, catastrophic fires kill 3,445. The writer reads, 15-year data shows carnage on Nigerian roads exacerbated by potholes, drivers' recklessness, fierce coping at clash sites, other factors. Those interesting details are with you on page 9 of the Sunday Vanguard. Dangote slashes petrol price to 890 naira. Dangote slashes petrol price to 890 naira. Find details on page 29 of today's Sunday Vanguard. 2027 realignment of forces gathers momentum. 2027 realignment of forces gathers momentum. Let's see what the writers here tell us. As Adebayo, ex-PDP presidential candidate, gives details of opposition parties meeting with El-Rufai, northern leaders, others. Tells Nigerians for your sake, children and grandchildren, don't vote APC. Crack in PDP widens, governor's move to assert control. So it will now appear that it is a face-off between former River State Governor, now Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, and the governors of the PDP, because we understand the governors, yes, they have their PDP forum or PDP governors forum, and of course there are leaders in the party, at least they are leaders in their respective states. That's how it works here. And then they are probably not putting, or if you like, trying to muster that strength that they have together, regardless of whatever differences may have existed amongst them, to ward off or fight off Mr. Wike, particularly as it has to do with the de facto leader of the party at the national level, even though there's not a question of between Wike and Fubara, who is the leader of the People's Democratic Party in River State. Okay, let's not rock the boat this morning. Here it says, I'm tired of my as trending instead of my career. DJ Pretty Play. Well, it is what it is now. What more? Nigerians abroad craze for fake marriage certificates. Nigerians abroad craze for fake marriage certificates. You find that interesting story on page 7 of the Sunday Vanguard. But the interesting thing is, what are they doing with the fake certificates? Well, maybe it has to also be a fake venture, who knows? Right, we're not done with the Vanguard newspaper. Trump crackdown amid U.S. immigrants deported in handcuffs. FG prepares to receive Nigerian deportees. Farotimi faces 2 cases, over 1 billion naira damages claim despite Afro Babaloba's case withdrawal. So it means the lawyer turned activist is not out of the woods just yet. All right. Then we turn to the Punch newspaper at this point for you. Let's see what the Punch newspaper has got for us. Air travelers resort to prayers amid surge in aviation disasters. Air travelers resort to prayers amid surge in aviation disasters. All right, read it up on page 3 of the Punch newspaper. That is the Sunday Punch. Here we have a picture of Governor of Lagos State. Let's see. It says, extortion traps, how policemen, government agents turn Lagos roads to daily nightmares. Party Secretary, Wike's allies vow to resist PDP governor's choice. Faction warns of chaos, crisis ahead. Half truths, many lies, fact-checking Kelly Badenoch. Look it up on page 7 of the Sunday Punch newspaper. Untold stories of Nigerians who chose solitude, died unnoticed. Quite a sad story. You know, that point where you have not seen a neighbor or a friend or some sort of associate for a while. You decide to just check in with them, and the next thing you know is, they're dead and they've taken their own life. And this has become very concerning, particularly in recent years. Okay, we turn to the left end of the front page of the Punch newspaper. Why paternity test should be mandatory after childbirth. As a DNA specialist. US-based Nigerian doctor allegedly kills self over $15,000 child support. US-based Nigerian doctor allegedly kills self over $15,000 child support. You find that on page 8 of the Sunday Punch newspaper. Real reason I started Federal Road Safety Corps in 1988. Retired Major Salawu. Real reason I started Federal Road Safety Corps in 1988. Please be sure to pick up the Sunday Punch newspaper today and look up details for yourself. Okay, we're going to turn quickly to our next paper, but before we do that, we're taking a quick break, everyone. When we return, we have 6 more papers for you, beginning with the Nation newspaper. All of that's coming after this break. Please do stay with us.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and international.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Mondays to Sundays to a wide range and the latest news making rounds on Global Money.
We're on the road to protest.
The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
let's begin again with the Nation newspaper. The Nation newspaper, quite frankly, has a couple of big headlines this morning. We start with the Star headline. Says fresh hurdle for local governments over central bank accounts. The writer says Apex Bank demands 2 years audited accounts of local governments. That sounds like a very crucial condition there. Police warn against extortion as third-party insurance enforcement commences. FG, 600,000 students received loans worth 104 billion naira. At the feet of the Nation Sunday, custody battle, commissioner accused of abducting daughter. Above the main plate of the Nation Sunday, PDP crisis, Ayahu petitions police DSS for enforcement of appeal court's order. And the writer tells us, says PDP governors inviting chaos, through communique supporting Ude Okoye. Dangote refinery crashes petrol price to 890 naira. With the rider says retailers now lifting fuel from Port Harcourt's Warri refineries, that's according to Petron. All right, PDP crisis appears to be here for a while. Look at how the issue of national secretary position has further deepened the crisis of a political party that once was the bride of, politically speaking, of the country. Today, it's virtually struggling for life, obviously because of the depletion happening within its folds on account of conflict left, right, and center. We've spoken with many of the leaders of this party, and they keep expressing the optimism that PDP will bounce back. Now, for many people, it's as if the party is learning how to play the role of the opposition. For a party that had been in power for 16 straight years, it's not a very good place to be for the People's Democratic Party, but let's see what happens. We now hear that even in the face of this tussle over the National Publicity Secretary position, the challenge again is when the convention will hold. Some faction in the party has called for a March 13 date for its convention, which is just give or take a month and a few days away from here. But the question is, will the other faction, that is led de facto by Yesa Wike, Minister of the FCT, jumping on that? That again is another conversation for a different day altogether. But for today, one thing is clear: the PDP is a house divided against itself, unless, of course, until something is done to change that reality. Okay, let's turn to the Sunday Telegraph. That's our next port of call this morning. The Sunday Telegraph, we will begin with the headlines above the name mast of the Sunday Telegraph. Top right has a picture of the Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo SAN, says NSIB's report blames structural defects for Allied Air's incident, tells NCAA to inspect airlines' fleets. Those details are available for you to read on page 5 of the Telegraph, the Sunday Telegraph. And then still above the main plates, FG to Nigerians brace up for electricity tariff increase. Says here plans subsidy for poor customers. Again, this conversation about poor Nigerians and poor customers. How are we going to define or determine who the poor customers are? What will be the metrics for determining that? Well, you can read those details on page 3 of Sunday Telegraph and then be better informed about these developments, right? Then we have a big story here. It says PDP crisis, leaders bank on March neck for salvation. All right. Maybe some people will say redemption. Those details are on pages 2 and 20 of the Sunday Telegraph. However, there are riders accompanying the headline. Ayawo writes IGP, leadership failure liable for our problems, or Lafesho. New national chair to emerge in March. Owondo. Well, maybe we should add all else equal, because as of today, we all know you will need a house that is united to even have a national executive council meeting. But the question is this house united? Let's turn to other headlines quickly. Dangote Refinery reduces ex-depot fuel price to 890 naira. We understand that lifting has also started at Port Harcourt and Warri refineries. Trump orders U.S. airstrikes in Somalia. Trump orders U.S. airstrikes in Somalia. Question is, who are they striking? Is it the rebels? VATSA, illegal mining, kidnapping, most lucrative ventures in North. VATSA, that's the kicker. Illegal mining, kidnapping, most lucrative ventures in North. And then the big headline reads, why Abuja endorsed Arubeshola's expulsion from APC sources. Why Abuja endorsed Arubeshola's expulsion from APC sources. Two writers with the headline, frustrated with ex-governor's followers' antics, as according to a chieftain of the party. Atiku, Obi, El-Rufai, Amechi, others throw tantrums. And then at the foot of the Sunday Telegraph, billionaire businessman Zenko partners Sunbet Guinea Company. Well, those are the headlines from the Sunday Telegraph. And that takes us to the Guardian newspaper, which also has quite a number of headlines for you this morning. The Guardian newspaper. We start from above the main plate of the Guardian newspaper. Here it says, OICL plots strategic initiatives in hospitality, agribusiness, real estate. APC, opposition parties, and rough road to 2027 elections. Well, you can read up those details on politics, pages 28 and 29. And then let's look at the star headline for you quickly. The kicker here says, chasing suspects, how enforcement agencies can avoid rights violation. And interestingly, this headline here has pictures of IG of police, talking about Inspector General of Police Kayode Egbetokun. Then of course you have the photos as well of the executive chairman of the independent, the ICPC, and of course the EFCC here as well. Sharia in Boglio. Warwick alleges plots to unleash violence on Southwest Muslims. Sharia in Boglio. Warwick alleges plots to unleash violence on Southwest Muslims. Federal universities without national character. What exactly does that mean, and what are the implications? You can read it up on the back page of the Guardian newspaper. That's what is called inside stuff. All right. We have 3 more papers to go, but this time we're turning to the Weekend Trust for you. Yes, the Weekend Trust is our next port of call. All right. Now, turning to the Weekend Trust, what do we have here? It says inside Delta community where bicycles are essential commodity. Inside Delta community where bicycles are essential commodity. That's on page 29 of the Weekend Trust. Wicked, bold, and unforgettable, Nollywood's most fearsome women. Here on page 21. Wicked, bold, and unforgettable, Nollywood's most fearsome women. All right. I can see a picture of Ikea Anobi as well as Patience Ozoko, and then you're asking yourself, if these two ladies don't make it to this list, who else will? All right. Let's look at the big headline this morning that reads, unanswered questions over Quran Convention. Unanswered questions over Quran Convention. All right, sponsors unknown. We can fund our conference. Sheikh Balalau. Our top oil executive initiated project. Sheikh Jalingo. Northern clerics divided apparently over the issue of Quran convention. You have many of the Islamic scholars, about 8 of them with their images here on the front page of the Weekend Trust today. Bandits kill 3, abducts 24 in Zamfara. And now do I hear you say not again, right? Bandits kill 3, abducts 24 in Zamfara. Quite a sad story. And you're also asking yourself, for how long are we going to continue to blame this on illegal mining without finding a definitive solution to this problem? PSC orders police officers above 60 years to retire. PSC, that's Police Service Commission, orders officers above 60 years to retire. All right, what more do we have here? Let's look at that for you quickly. The Sunday Times, that's where we're moving up to now. We'll move on to the Sunday Times for you. Let's see the first headline from the Sunday Times. It says police enforces third-party insurance in Akwa Ibom. We understand the police is taking this to several other states across the country. On the Sunday Times, that's a big headline for you. But there's something a bit bigger. It says Ayahu threatens governors with violence. That's talking about Ayahu, one of the factional, well, if you like, personalities in this tussle over who is the, well, let's just say, bona fide National Secretary of the People's Democratic Party. Of course, there's also Odo Okoye, on the other hand, who says is the legitimate National Secretary of the People's Democratic Party. Now, this has further deepened the crisis and the level of division in the People's Democratic Party. All right. Then the writer says, writes CJN, DSS, IGP, of course, says he wants the judgment of the appeal courts enforced. All right. Security operatives smash car theft syndicates in Bauchi. Security operatives smash car theft syndicates in Bauchi. Nigeria needs builders, thinking leaders, not passive observers, says Speaker Abbas. Nigeria needs builders, thinking leaders, not passive observers, says Speaker Abbas. Well, hopefully, Right Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, who is the Speaker of the House of Representatives and the number 4 man, as they often say, in the leadership structure of Nigeria, should lead by example. All right, he should bring that level of capacity to build and to think, to bear. We must see that at least at the legislative level, where he is the Speaker of the House of Representatives, right? It's called an exemplary leadership, or leadership by example. Okay, let's see 2 more here. It says how TED Fund suspends 1.838 trillion naira on tertiary education in 13 years. How TED Fund spends 1.838 trillion naira on tertiary education in 13 years. Right, one more headline from the Sunday Times before we're done altogether here. It says Trump, 3,600 Nigerians face uncertain U.S. deportation. Find those details on page 2 of the Sunday Times. We understand that the federal government has started bracing up to receive these deportees of Nigerian extraction who will be sent back from the United States anytime from today. Quite frankly, it is what it is now. I mean, if you witnessed the Trump presidency between 2017 and 2021, not much, maybe not even any part of this should shock you on any level, right? That's all from the Sunday Times today. Let's look at the Sunday Independent. That's our last paper before we wrap up the show this morning. Sunday Independent, all right. At the very top of it, above the nameplates, top left of the Sunday Independent, it says, alleged plot to unseat Tinubu, El-Rufai only expressed an insider's view. That's according to Udeze. Alleged plot to unseat Tinubu, El-Rufai only expressed an insider's view. Udeze. Labour unionists tackles governors over non-payment of 70,000 naira minimum wage. Labour unionist tackles governors over non-payment of 70,000 naira minimum wage. It's interesting how things work in our country. I mean, one would have thought once everybody had come on board over the 70,000 naira minimum wage for workers in this country, it would be a matter that was already behind us, and then going forward we'll see implementation, especially when you also think about how that some states had moved further beyond 70,000 to as high as 72,000, 75, 80, 82. We even have one or two states who have said, look, we can pay 85,000. So how is it that under such circumstances, in this kind of situation, you still curiously have states that have refused, because that is what it seems to be if we are still dragging ourselves at this point, to pay 70,000 naira, which is what has been unanimously agreed upon, right? PANDEF faults exclusion of Niger Delta in new mini LNG plans. PANDEF faults exclusion of Niger Delta in new mini LNG plans. All of those details are on page 6 of the Sunday Independent for you to look at. But then there is the big headline as well. More Nigerians rise against negotiation with terrorists. Why? Two riders say its exercise in futility amounts to injustice to victims. Kaduna government urged to liaise with military to flush out bandits. Some valid points here, but how do you stack that up against the argument or position of the governor of Kaduna State, Uba Sani, who now says that yes, it may not be the right thing to do, it may not be the standard practice, but it's a matter of sheer necessity, all right? Because for him, he says the goal is to ensure that his people can sleep with two eyes closed. So he wants peace by all means for his people, and if that's the case, there probably is no price to pay to earn that peace, to secure that peace for the people of Kaduna State. Again, experts alert Nigerians to dangers of food preservatives on liver, kidney. Again, experts alert Nigerians to dangers of food preservatives on liver, kidney. Well, we can't be too careful at this point. We're seeing what NAFDAC has been doing the last few weeks in particular, drawing attention to all of these dangers with unwholesome food, unregulated consumables that are on the market right now. Ayawu petitions IGP, CJN, DSS, others over PDP governor's decision. Ayawu petitions IGP, CJN, DSS, others over PDP governor's decision. Cybercrime. Activists blast police over Showore's arrest. Detention. Cybercrime. Activists blast police over Showore's arrest. Detention. Alright, what do we have here? It says CRLSI joins CSOs to commend NBA president over support for rule of law. 50% tariff hike, that's your kicker. Stakeholders tackle FG NCC telcos. Two writers here say tariffs in Nigeria highest in the world. That's according to Baba Aye. It will increase cost of living, make telecom services unaffordable. Mutasi. And then on the foot of the front page of the Sunday Independent, it reads, Yaga Africa calls for Electoral Act modification ahead of 2027 polls. Yaga Africa calls for Electoral Act modification ahead of 2027 polls. Find those details on page 5 of the Sunday Independent for you. Well, 2027 is close, and many stakeholders are now saying, what are we going to do differently from what we had seen right from 1999 all through to 2023 general election? I mean, we've seen already ills that have bedeviled electoral process this entire time. We've seen vote buying, we've seen political actors, even so-called chieftains of political parties, all right, play to the gallery, take the laws into their hands, overstep their bounds, undermine the law, whether the ground of the Constitution or the extant law, the Electoral Act, and even the guidelines of the umpire, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. So what do we do to fix those problems? We've seen well, the voting public, in some cases, some of them, voters in Nigeria, being disenfranchised. How do we ensure we address that? We're seeing materials not coming early, all right, to polling units, to where they are needed at the voting centers across the country. How do we address that? We're seeing people who have gone to whatever lengths, right, to break the rules, to bend the rules before, during, and after the election days. Talking about the general election cycles now. What do we do to fix that problem? We're seeing issues around, yes, there's server, no, there's no server, yes, we will use BVAS, no, we will not use BVAS, and all of that. We're going to post results electronically, no, we are not going to post electronically. We're going to use the internet to drive e-voting. No, we are not going to do that. We're not right for it just yet. We can't compare ourselves with America. How do we address those issues? 2027 is not far flung. It may look like 2 years from here, but let's be clear. By the middle of 2026, things would have been jumping off pretty much in Nigeria in light of the 2027 general election. Will INEC again be caught napping? Will the political gladiators themselves have that leeway, find that same window, that same door that has been inadvertently left half open, exploit it, and then undermine the will of the good people of Nigeria? These are questions we must answer. These are not just issues around Yaga and its position. It's also about whether or not the point that Yaga is making is valid, particularly in light of the 2027 general election. Elections may not change our economy, but the choices we make during election and how those who have been saddled with the responsibility of midwife in this electoral process conduct themselves will go a long way in determining how we can use the present, all right, as a vehicle to determine or just, make a choice as to what we want the future of this country to be, particularly in the area of good governance and forward-thinking leadership. Amuyi Agbofoegbe, thank you especially on behalf of my team here at Global Television for spending 1 hour with us. We do not take it for granted. We'll see you soon.